Before we start with questions, I just want to address, what's going on with AT. I think first and foremost, it's absolutely unacceptable. I think as a league, as a whole, there's been so much more toxicity, racism, homophobia, straight out like nonsense, hate nonsense. And
Since when?
Stephanie White just made a calculated, public, on-the-record decision to defend Alyssa Thomas with the full weight of her coaching authority, while Caitlin Clark, the player who actually plays for her, the player who fills every arena she coaches in, the player who has an actual stalker arrested outside her home, gets complete, deafening surgical silence. Let me say that again so every single person watching this video understands the stakes. Stephanie White held a press conference. She opened with a prepared statement defending Alyssa Thomas from online criticism. Alyssa Thomas, a player on the Connecticut Sun. A player Stephanie White does not coach, does not employ, does not pay. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark missed practice today with a back injury. Sophie Cunningham is still listed as out with what the team is calling homesickness. And the head coach of the Indiana Fever has not said one public word about the stalker who was arrested trying to break into Caitlin Clark's residence. Not one word, not a statement, not a tweet. Not a single syllable of concern for the safety of the most important player in the history of her franchise. But Alyssa Thomas gets a full press conference defense, with cameras rolling, on the record. Welcome back. This is Court Vision Central, and today we are documenting the exact moment Stephanie White told every single Fever fan exactly where Caitlin Clark ranks in her priorities, and it is not first. Before I walk you through what Stephanie White said on camera, I need you to understand the context that nobody on ESPN is going to give you. Caitlin Clark has been dealing with a legitimate, law enforcement-confirmed stalker for weeks. The Indiana Fever organization confirmed the arrest. Local news ran the story. The man was charged. This is not online gossip. This is not a mean tweet. This is a credible physical threat to the safety of the franchise's most valuable player. And Stephanie White, the head coach, the person who is supposed to protect her players, the person who is supposed to set the culture, said nothing. Publicly, privately, who knows? But publicly, silence. Absolute, calculated, telling silence. And then yesterday, Alyssa Thomas, who plays for the Connecticut Sun, who Stephanie White has no professional obligation to defend, receives criticism online after controversial comments she made about the league. And Stephanie White opens her next press conference with a prepared statement defending her, not Caitlin Clark, not Sophie Cunningham, Alyssa Thomas. I have been covering this league for years, and I am telling you right now, this is not normal. This is not how a head coach behaves when they actually prioritize their own roster. This is how a head coach behaves when they care more about the opinion of the old guard than the safety of their own players. And I have receipts. We are going to play the clip. You are going to hear it in Stephanie White's own words. And then I am going to walk you through exactly what this means for Caitlin Clark's future in Indiana. Let's start with the timeline. Caitlin Clark's stalker was arrested weeks ago. The story broke. The Fever confirmed it. And Stephanie White said nothing, not a single public comment, no statement of support, no acknowledgement that her star player is dealing with a legitimate safety threat, nothing. Fast forward to yesterday, Alyssa Thomas receives online criticism, and Stephanie White, without being asked, without a reporter prompting her, opens her press conference with this. Don't take my word for it. Listen to what she said on camera. She said it, with cameras rolling. After weeks of silence about Caitlin Clark's stalker, after Sophie Cunningham is listed as out with homesickness, after her own roster is falling apart, Stephanie White opens a press conference by saying it is absolutely unacceptable that Alyssa Thomas is receiving online criticism. Let me say that back to you in case you missed the weight of what just happened. Stephanie White believes it is absolutely unacceptable that a player on another team is being criticized online. But a stalker breaking into Caitlin Clark's home? That does not rise to the level of a public statement. That does not warrant a single word of concern from the head coach. And here is the part that should make every single Fever fan furious. Stephanie White did not stop there. She kept going. She blamed the toxicity on people who are not real WNBA fans. She said, and I am paraphrasing her exact framing here, that she believes in her heart of hearts that the criticism is not coming from WNBA fans or Indiana Fever fans. So who is left, Stephanie? Who exactly are you blaming? Because the only group left is Caitlin Clark's fanbase. The people who fill your arenas, the people who buy your jerseys, the people who made the Indiana Fever relevant again after years of being a bottom 3 franchise. Those are the people Stephanie White just accused of being toxic, divisive, and not real fans. I told you this was coming. I made a video 3 weeks ago breaking down the pattern of behavior from the WNBA establishment, and I said then that they would eventually turn on Caitlin Clark's fanbase. I said they would blame the criticism on outsiders instead of addressing the legitimate concerns about officiating, about player safety, about coaching decisions. And here we are. Stephanie White just did it, on camera, with a prepared statement. Now let's escalate this, because what Stephanie White did in that press conference is not just a one-time mistake. This is a pattern. This is who she is. And I am going to prove it to you with 4 specific examples that show you exactly how Stephanie White operates when it comes to Caitlin Clark versus everyone else. Stephanie White had a choice. She could have opened that press conference by addressing her own roster. She could have talked about Caitlin Clark's back injury. She could have given an update on Sophie Cunningham's status. She could have acknowledged the very real, very serious stalker situation that her franchise player is dealing with. But she did not do any of those things. Instead, she used her platform to defend a player on another team. That is not a coaching decision. That is not prioritizing your roster. That is sabotage. That is a head coach telling her own players, especially Caitlin Clark, that their safety, their health, their well-being is less important than defending the reputation of a veteran player who does not even wear a Fever jersey. This is not the first time Stephanie White has shown preferential treatment to the old guard over her own roster. 3 months ago, when Caitlin Clark was getting physically targeted by opposing players on the court, Stephanie White said the physicality was just part of the game. She told reporters that Caitlin needed to adjust. She did not call out the officiating. She did not demand better protection. She put the responsibility on Caitlin. 2 months ago, when Caitlin was asked to speak out about issues in the league that had nothing to do with her, Stephanie White stayed silent. She did not defend Caitlin's right to stay focused on basketball. She let the media pile on. And now, after a stalker is arrested, Stephanie White still will not say a single word of public support for her franchise player. 3 incidents. 3. Let that sink in. 3 times Stephanie White had the opportunity to protect Caitlin Clark, and 3 times she chose silence. But Alyssa Thomas gets a full press conference defense, and Stephanie White is not operating alone. The entire Indiana Fever front office has been complicit in this. The general manager has not made a public statement about the stalker. The team president has not addressed the safety concerns. The assistant coaches have not spoken up. Every single person in that organization who has the power to protect Caitlin Clark has stayed silent. And you know why? Because they are terrified of the WNBA establishment. They are terrified of being labeled as divisive, as toxic, as not real fans. They would rather sacrifice Caitlin Clark's safety and well-being than risk upsetting the people who actually run this league. And every single one of them stayed silent. Receipts coming. Here is what this cost Caitlin Clark. She is dealing with a legitimate stalker. She is playing through a back injury. She is being asked to carry an entire franchise on her shoulders while her head coach publicly defends players on other teams. And the message Stephanie White just sent to Caitlin Clark is this: you are not the priority. Your safety does not matter as much as protecting the reputation of the old guard. Your health does not warrant a public statement. Your fan base is the problem, not the solution. That is what Caitlin Clark's prime is being burned for. That is the cost of playing for a head coach who cares more about the opinion of the establishment than the well-being of her own players. And here is the receipt nobody on TV will play for you, because of what it proves. Stephanie White did not just defend Alyssa Thomas. She went further. She told fans, specifically the fans who have been critical of the league's handling of Caitlin Clark, that they are not welcome. Watch this. She said it, on camera, with a straight face. If you are one of these people that are online doing this, do not call yourself a WNBA fan. Let me translate that for you. Stephanie White just told Caitlin Clark's fan base, the people who made the Fever relevant again, the people who sell out arenas, the people who buy the jerseys and the merchandise, that they are not real fans. She said it out loud. And the reason this clip matters is because it proves that Stephanie White is not just protecting Alyssa Thomas, she is actively attacking the people who support Caitlin Clark. She is drawing a line in the sand, and she is making it very clear which side she is on. This irks my nerves, because Stephanie White is supposed to be the head coach of the Indiana Fever. She is supposed to protect her players. She is supposed to prioritize her roster. But instead, she is using her platform to defend players on other teams and attack the fan base that made her franchise successful. That is not leadership. That is cowardice. Before I lay out the verdict, you need to hear this one last clip, because of what it proves about who actually runs this league. Stephanie White did not stop at defending Alyssa Thomas. She went even further. She framed the entire controversy as a league-wide issue. She said the WNBA is about inclusiveness, about elevating women, about elevating marginalized communities, and then she said this: our league is about inclusiveness. Our league is about competition. Our league is about elevating women, elevating marginalized communities. Let me ask you a question, Stephanie. Is Caitlin Clark not part of a marginalized community within the WNBA ecosystem? Is she not being targeted? Is she not being physically assaulted on the court? Is she not dealing with a stalker? Is she not being asked to speak out on issues that have nothing to do with her? Is she not being blamed for the toxicity in the league? Caitlin Clark is the most marginalized player in the WNBA right now. And you, Stephanie White, have said nothing to defend her, but you will defend Alyssa Thomas. You will defend the old guard. You will defend the establishment. That tells me everything I need to know about your priorities. Now here is the verdict. I am going to stake 5 predictions, and I want every single person watching this video to save this timestamp. If I am right by the end of the season, come back and tell me. If I am wrong, roast me in the comments. I will take the heat. If Stephanie White is still the head coach of the Indiana Fever by the start of next season, I want every single person to come back and roast me in the comments. Because after what we just witnessed, after the way she has handled Caitlin Clark, after the way she has prioritized defending the old guard over protecting her own roster, there is no way the Fever front office can justify keeping her. The only question is whether they have the courage to make the move. Save this clip. Caitlin Clark is going to request a trade. I am not saying it is going to happen this season. I am not saying it is going to happen this offseason. But within the next 18 months, Caitlin Clark is going to make it known privately to the front office that she wants out of Indiana. And the reason is simple. She cannot play for a head coach who does not prioritize her safety, her health, or her well-being. Mark this video. The Indiana Fever front office is going to face massive pressure from sponsors, from fans, from the media to address this situation. And within the next 2 weeks, we are going to see a statement. It might be vague, it might be corporate, but they are going to have to say something, because the silence is no longer sustainable. Watch the next 2 weeks. The story is going to break wide open when a major outlet runs the article they are already sitting on. I have been hearing from league sources that there is reporting being done on the disconnect between Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark. And when that article drops, it is going to confirm everything I just told you. The timeline, the pattern of behavior, the preferential treatment, all of it. The Indiana Fever are going to miss the playoffs this season. And the reason is not going to be talent. It is not going to be injuries. It is going to be coaching. It is going to be culture. It is going to be the fact that Stephanie White has completely lost the locker room. And when the season ends, the front office is going to have to make a choice, rebuild around Caitlin Clark or lose her. There is no middle ground anymore. And here is the closing emotional beat. Caitlin Clark is still showing up. She is still doing individual workouts. She is still rehabbing her back. She is still carrying this franchise on her shoulders. Despite the stalker, despite the lack of support from her head coach, despite the attacks from the establishment, Caitlin Clark is still doing the thing the haters said she could not do. She is still playing at an elite level. She is still filling arenas. She is still proving that she belongs. And the people who are supposed to protect her are failing her. Every single day. Drop your most honest take in the comments. Is Stephanie White the wrong coach for Caitlin Clark, or is this just a media-manufactured controversy that will blow over by next week? Pick a side, defend it, and while you are down there, save this comment. I just predicted that Stephanie White will not be the head coach of the Indiana Fever by the start of next season. If I am right by opening night 2026, come back and tell me. If I am wrong, roast me. I will own it. Tag the friend who keeps telling you that Caitlin Clark's fan base is the problem. Make them watch this video and tell you they still believe it. And here is what is coming next. Tomorrow we are going to break down the latest injury report from the Fever, and I am going to show you exactly why Caitlin Clark's back injury is more serious than the team is letting on. If you are not subscribed, you are going to miss it. Hit the bell. This is Court Vision Central. We will see you in the next video.
That is going to come. But it's not hard to not be a jerk. And if you are one of these people that are online doing this, do not call yourself a WNBA fan.
Go on.
Our league is about inclusiveness. Our league is about competition. Our league is about elevating. Before we start with questions, I just want to address, what's going on with AT. I think first and foremost, it's absolutely unacceptable. I think as a league, as a whole, there's been so much more toxicity, racism, homophobia, straight out like nonsense, hate nonsense. And
Since when?
That is going to come. But it's not hard to not be a jerk. And if you are one of these people that are online doing this, do not call yourself a WNBA fan.
Go on.
Our league is about inclusiveness. Our league is about competition. Our league is about elevating.